follow my colleague from Texas in pursuing that very same discussion on the issue of energy. I was here before the President joined the Senate, and I remember daily diatribes about how Republicans being in charge was leading Americans to have higher gas prices. In fact, I recall a great deal being made about what the gas prices were then when they reached, in April of 2006, $3 a gallon. And I recall a big show up here at the gas station on the corner right here in Capitol Hill about how if Democrats were in charge, this wouldn't be happening. And it was only because Republicans were in charge that gas prices had reached $3 a gallon. Well, now we're looking at a situation where they're $3.69 in April of 2008, 2 years later. The Democrats, as my colleague from Texas said, the House and Senate leadership, great enthusiasm, took control of both houses of the Congress, promised the American people that they would lower gas prices, that they would change the dynamics, and that they would deliver. They were promised an alternative to paying $3 a gallon. I don't think what they meant was to pay $4 a gallon, but it was an alternative to pay less. American families are hurting. AAA reports that today at $3.50 a gallon, it is the highest average price that they have ever on record. Families are paying record high gas prices, and we still haven't passed a sensible energy policy that gets to the heart of this matter. Until that policy is passed, we ought to do what we can to offer Americans who are frustrated with the current prices some much-needed relief. Currently, oil is nearly $120 a barrel. High fuel prices are translating into higher prices for groceries. What families need is relief. We need to do what we can to stem the rise of gasoline prices at the pump. One of the ways that I think we could do and benefit our economy at the same time is the summer holiday from the 18-cent a gallon federal gas tax. I've joined with several of my colleagues in supporting a gas tax holiday from Memorial Day to Labor Day. What a concept. Wouldn't it be nice? We suspend the gas tax 18 cents a gallon on gas and 24 cents on diesel. It would be putting money back into the pockets of American families. This would help those who have to drive great distances for work. Many people in Florida, to find affordable housing, have to be long ways from work. Florida doesn't have the kind of mass transit system that many places in the Northeast and other parts of the country would have. They have no option but to get in a car. And when they do, they get hammered at the gas pump. People in the trucking industry are finding increasing problems in meeting their needs because diesel fuel costs are so high. So the cost of transporting goods is also going up. And one of the things that benefits my state greatly is when the American family jumps in their car and goes for a summer vacation. As the gas prices begin to really hurt the pocketbook of the American family, fewer and fewer of them will have the joy of enjoying a vacation, and more Floridians, already threatened by a weak economy, would have an additional problem of seeing vacationers not come to our attractions and beaches, and maybe hurt our tourism economy as well. Something else we can do is to seriously consider suspending the production of so-called boutique fuels. This is a requirement by states that mandate the use of different fuel blends to meet clean air standards. States develop more and more requirements. The blends of fuel increase in number, and there are now dozens of these fuel blends. Each one of them puts a strain on oil refineries, which already are stretched to the max. States need to work to reduce the number of boutique fuels and increase their cooperation with oil refineries to harmonize fuel blend requirements. In other words, we all want clean air, but every state's version of how we get there ought to not be an individual act, but ought to be harmonized so that we can then shorten or lessen the number of additional fuel blends that have to be made. In addition, we need to expand refinery capacity in this country. We haven't built a new refinery in 30 years, and we keep saddling our fuel needs with more and more mandates. We do need to find a way that we can create more avenues for refining fuel. Our industry refines approximately 18 million barrels a day, but we use over 20 million barrels a day. So what that means is that we have a shortfall between what we can refine, what we can actually do in that regard, and what must be imported from other parts of the world. So, as unthinkable as it is, the United States has to import refined fuel. We shouldn't be in that fix. We should be able to stay ahead of the demand. We really need long-term solutions to our energy problems. There are alternatives to sources of fuel, such as cellulosic ethanol, where desensitizing, using agricultural waste, biomass, and other byproducts that are renewable sources of energy. And these do not compete with the food chain, which is an increasing problem that we are finding. Florida could have a huge role in developing these fuels of the future and fuel technologies. I believe that our energy bill last year included a very robust focus on these new emerging technologies that will require 21 billion gallons of cellulosic ethanol by the year 2022. And Florida has a real potential to be a leader in biomass production, and we're quickly becoming leaders in this field. So for the long term, we've taken some steps necessary to provide Americans with more alternatives to paying high gas prices at the pump, but more must be done. We must increase prudently and where possible more domestic production. We need to also continue to expand avenues of research and opportunities for new fuel breakthroughs. I continue to believe that America's ingenuity is our greatest strength, and that we look to ways in which we can utilize that ingenuity to find ways that we might conquer this addiction, as has been called, to foreign oil. We must do better than that, but we've also got to help the American family to get away from $3 and $4 a gallon of gasoline. It is time that we do and reach a way of helping the American family. Beyond that, I think there is one thing that every American can do today, and that's to conserve. If we were to conserve fuel and do that in a significant way, I know that we would lower the prices of gas, not only of fuel in the barrel, but also at the pump. I think all Americans have an interest in conservation, and we should see and seek and lead our people to do more and more conservation, because until we have alternative fuels available, this may be the very best way in which we can lower our fuel prices. So we need leadership. We look for leadership from the majority party, and we hope that part of that will include opening additional sources of exploration in America where possible and where prudent, in compatibility with our environment, creating more options for fewer fuel blends, and also more refining capacity, also looking to cellulosic, but also conserving more energy. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield